best way to set up a model is to have accountability on all sides.
Everyone wants to get rich, but no one wants to work hard. Our primary focus has always been to coach the founder, and the founder becomes the coach for his or her team. So you coach the coach. We often say that foundership brings the culture empathy of the East to the capitalism of the West and marry both of them.
Welcome to today's episode on XDC Podcast India. And today we explore how Web3 startups go from just an idea to a successful token launch with the help of the Foundership Accelerator Model. Joining us here are key figures from Foundership who have been shaping the future of early stage Web3 and AI startups globally. To start, can you introduce yourself and share a bit about your backgrounds?
Thank you, Kishan, for having us here. Wonderful to see XDC Network kickstarting the India side of ecosystem building and getting the awesome work that you have done for many, many years, right? So we are equally happy to be here. Quickly, this is Santosh here. I'm the co-founder at Foundership. Foundership, as you rightly said, is a Web3 and AI accelerator started in 2021. And we're going to talk about Foundership in detail, but about me, I've been a serial entrepreneur, started way back in 2008, kickstarted Explara, which was India's first event ticketing platform, built that business for 10, 12 years. So equally passionate to bring the founder side of hustle, scale, fundraising, success, and a bit of failure, and overall enthusiasm to see the world build many more entrepreneurs. So that's pretty much summary. As used to be an engineer right here in Bangalore, kickstarted my career, used to code till 2012. And then I've been a product manager, worked for multiple global companies in multiple global countries, and then came back to India in 2012 to grow my business in Explara. And here we are with Foundership, now shaping Web3 and AI.
Thank you so much, Santosh. And how about you, Bimlesh? Could you give us a small introduction about you?
Thanks for having me here today. Absolute pleasure. I think XDC is one of the strong believers in the ecosystem for a long-term play and not just a chain that's building out, just for token shilling and for the sake of making an impact. It's also hard to move from TradeFi to a blockchain environment, focusing on RW and stuff like that. So super excited on what XDC is doing. My brief background, I've been an engineer all through. I've done my master's and my MBA all in India from some of the top institutes. My first 15 years has been in the corporate world, growing up from an engineer to in head of engineering for a healthcare company. My passion was always in healthcare. I wanted to be a doctor, became an engineer. One of the reverse trends, unlike every other engineer who wanted to become a doctor. After my 15 years of work life, when I was doing my executive MBA, that's when I started to daydream and look at what's happening around the ecosystem. Flipkart had just raised their first round of funding. Mobile penetration worldwide and in India was growing up. And that's when I decided to build my healthcare startup out of India, focusing on outpatient medication so that all of us get our medicines on time, we stay healthy, reactive healthcare to more preventive healthcare. I got caught in the first funding winter in 2016. I shut that down, pivoted into a venture studio, built that out for a couple of years, and then later found an exit. And just when I was thinking on my next venture, COVID hit, and that's when Santosh and I started talking together because COVID enabled a lot of us to start rebuilding fresh networks around the world. And Foundership was born out of an experiment to say that, hey, can we help early stage founders to unlock some of their roadblocks on what they're building? And that's how the seed of Foundership was seeded in 2021, and our move to Web3 happened a year later. And here we are sitting today talking to XDC, where we are running a cohort with XDC, focusing on enabling startups to get token launch ready and launch their tokens in 2025, when the market is also favoring every startup that has the dream to launch their token, to go public and to make an impact with their technology.
That's an amazing background. Thank you, both of you. You guys both are studying in Bangalore colleges, or you both have done engineering? Which colleges were you guys in? And
yeah, I did mine in Mysore, in NI Mysore. I have two proud alumni. One is a cricketer, Prasanna, ex-cricketer, and we have Narayan Murthy as well, who's our alumni from there. And I was part of the second batch of computer science in NI, graduated in 96.
Okay.
Yeah, in my case, it was nothing substantial. Wanted to be a doctor, in fact. And luckily, I think today, I would say luckily, I escaped that route to not become a doctor and become an engineer. So went out to a private engineering college in Odisha way back, because that was the only option available after I realized that my medical rankings have been low. And then I did industrial production engineering there, and very early on figured out, and I knew from childhood because dad used to be a banker. We had some businesses we have already done. Always there has been a business from my childhood, right? In and around my home, our own businesses. Some failed, some succeeded. So I knew that I'm going to go out and do something. Soon within the mid-year of my engineering, some of my computer science friends poked my head saying that computer is the best way to build a business, right? So I shifted out in 97 to do pretty much get 3 to 4 friends getting a computer, started coding, right? And then shifted to Bangalore way back in 97. Right after the engineering, and that's where I went to CDAC Bangalore and shifted the entire industrial production engineering to computing, got my job, and here we are.
Amazing story, sir. I've been to many of your events and I know what value you guys have brought to the Web3 ecosystem especially. And thank you for doing what you guys do. So yeah, first things first, I think we've already discussed about what excites you the most about the Web3 startup ecosystem. But if you have any words about that, that would be great. You can share any words about what really excites you about the Web3, startup ecosystem.
So if you look at Web3, both at a founder level, right, at a co-founder level, we all saw the early technology right before .com, right? Around .com, before .com. Literally, we've started with the desktop computers, and then .com happened, and everything moved to web. So way back, if I take anybody who's building in Web3, if I take them back to 99, they'll say the same experience that we have today about on-chain, about Web3, about crypto tech us, right? So a lot of non-believers and hardly any believers, right? So the same thing there. Even the early web got people thought that they can make money, they can launch a single web page and make some millions, make some money. So I think money definitely, kind of like gets people to new things. That's the only way capital intensive or capital driven innovation happens. So what motivates us today is to see that how do you ensure quality people coming in or quality projects or startups getting built to last kind of companies, right? Over a decade and next decade. So that's something that we've seen in our own career, right? And we were part of many products or startups that got built in those decades. We see the same sort of scope, a lack of clarity, great opportunity, right, in this space in Web3. Right? And I think that motivates us at a foundership level to say, hey, what can we do for the founders? I'll let Bimlesh add more insights around it.
Thanks, Santosh. I think one of the wonderful things that Web3 brought was the complete change in opportunity of democratizing access to innovation, right? Unlike in the previous technology era, access to these technologies were limited to a few. Access to learning was also limited to a few. Could be either countries or certain geographies and stuff like that. But with Web3, right from day one, you're dealing with financial systems. And once you democratize financial systems, you now enable equal access to anyone around the world to build innovation on top of it. And this is what excited tremendously for us to say that we've all been building for global companies, but how do we create impact globally was a fundamental question and a vision that we always had. And when we saw Web3 as an opportunity where a lot of first-time founders were getting into this ecosystem, build and executing their ideas and problem statements without a structure and understanding on what the journey is going to be like, we felt this ecosystem needed a strong enablers. And this ecosystem was so vibrant that because it is still early as we speak today, even after 2.5 years, we being in the ecosystem, there's a huge warmth of welcomeness of everyone around the world to say that, hey, I'm willing to help you, which is never seen in the other side of the world so far. And that's always a case with a minority ecosystem, right? When you're few, you always tend to hang out with each other because you feel a sense of belonging there. And that is a global power of that ecosystem where universally everyone speaks that language, that how can we empower more citizens around the world? How can we democratize access to financial systems and monetize their own data by creating trust, transparency, and so on.
100% agree with you there, Bimlesh. because that's what even brought me to Web3. It's bringing, power back to people, power back to the individual, just also power back in terms of data. Lots of people don't understand that data is where all the money is made, and you're just giving it away for free to multiple centralized organizations. And that is one of the main reasons why even I got into the Web3 space. So yeah, we are all on the same page on this. And I'm happy to be talking to people like this always. So you were talking about the industry, and you were talking about how you guys have been building multiple products, you've been accelerating different projects to make sure that they reach, from 0 to 1. So this episode is mainly based on, the idea to token launch, right? From the ideation to the token launch. So can we get a little bit insight into the Foundership Accelerator Model? So could you please explain a little bit about, the Foundership Accelerator Model? Maybe, what is your Foundership's, core mission, and how does it support early stage startups?
Sure. So let me take some part of the initial thing, and I'll let Bimlesh talk about token launch part of it, right? So if you look at the organizational, the way we structured Foundership has been very, very different, because look, 2x entrepreneurs, and we have Pranav on board with decades of experience, and we had a fantastic network of founders, right? So we realized that, having been running businesses, we realized that the best way to set up a model is to have accountability on all sides, right? Accountability at a foundership side, accountability at a network side, accountability at an outcome side. Now, to create that structure, we came up with a 3C model, Coast Capital Community. We say that we have fantastic people from all over the world who want to be part of the network foundership, give back something to the ecosystem, to the founders, but there is going to be an accountability, right? So we didn't want, unlike many accelerators where you can go and put your name, we said, okay, if you come and offer your hours or time to work with a founder, you would have an upside. Right? So the upside could be that if your project gets selected to XDC network in a cohort, and now the startup is in the XDC network cohort, there is somebody called, let's say, Tony, right, comes out as a coach, there is some amount of token is going to be allotted to him or her, right, as a coach. So there's an accountability, so that if they succeed, we succeed, nobody's wasting time, right? So we came up with those structural wealth creation, as Bimlesh rightly said, because it's Web3, it is finance involved. It was much easier to structure in such a way rather than an old way. So it's a very, very freshly backed new model that we welcome everybody else to follow, copy, create similar frameworks. So that's one. Capital, we had the partners all over the world, whether angels and investors and VCs. So that's also very important for somebody with an idea and going all the way to token launch to say, who can support me, right? And we're going to deep dive how we do further. English, we do deep dive on that one. And similarly, community, right? So which is very, very essential. For example, for XDC network, the community is equally important, because Web3 starts with that, right? You need certain people, believers, to come and say, hey, I don't know what is going to happen, but I think there is something here. I'm going to watch, I'm going to be there. As long as there is an ethical there is a transparency there, so I'm going to be around, right? So people are open about it. People have talked about it. People are really, really open, supportive about it, right? So we took the 3C model to create foundership structure and then run that entire. So when a founder comes with an idea, they get these 3 things out of the box. A great network of coaches, 100 plus all over the world, right? So because it's on chain, it's a global accelerator, you can be anywhere in the world you build right now. Right now we have 55 startups from all over the world, right? It's virtual, right? So we got 100 people to work with you or to guide you. Capital, similarly 100 capital in terms of angels, VCs and investors all over the world, right? Second. Third, we built a large community of 10,000 people all over worldwide, 30, 40 cities. You also get early backers of your idea, right? So we took this 3C and this quantitative data to the market and said, okay, let's work with XDC. Let's bring founders to help them in the idea stage. I'll let Bimlesh talk about how we run those machine, right, of getting them to go to the next stages of in the process that we build.
taking it forward, right? So each stage, as you build your startup, you require different levels of support. The intensity differs, your core objectives differs, because there's no point in an early stage talking to you about the scale and growth, right? You need to figure out ways to build, validate, test, and then get users on board, and then figure out what sort of a revenue model is going to sustain the ecosystem. So the way we run is by co-creating partner programs for early stage and for token launch stage. So for early stage, we've rekindled a new program called BuildCamp, which will be launching soon with a couple of partners this year, where the whole idea is every builder that has an idea, how do we spur that energy momentum of builder energy to become an entrepreneur, right? So that builder energy will be the focus of the BuildCamp model, where in 6 to 12 weeks time, you get all the support that you need to enhance your entrepreneurship from an idea to actually go out and launch a product with a company behind you, so that you're able to raise funds. And then as we've been building out our accelerator over the last 2 years, we saw that a lot of startups got built, but a lot of them also struggled in figuring out how to launch their tokens. And that's how about 6 months ago, we co-created the world's first token launch ready program with XDC to say that, hey, in 90 days, can we get startups ready with their path towards token launch? And in this process, we kind of ensured that this is not just a masterclass session, but you have 4 to 5 types of coaches to work with you, which includes a marketing partner, a business coach, a tokenomics coach, and an investor relations coach, all of them looking at one project to ensure that you have different perspectives, and each one of them kind of work with you to achieve your goals in 90 days, so that you have very clear path to say that, hey, when you're ready to launch your token, you've already ticked all the check marks and you have crossed all the dots as well, to ensure that you have more preparedness towards your token launch. So a few things that we realized in this process is when a founder tries to do all this on his own, it's extremely challenging. One, because Web3 works in a 24-hour cycle, right? And you will end up getting burnt out much sooner. And there's only one way access to all these networks that you can touch upon to. But as an accelerator, when you come in, our recommendations and our network recommendations play a big role when you're trying to reach out to an exchange, to a market maker, to a launchpad. So your entire process gets shrunk, and that's how the speed for which your preparation enhances at least by 5x. And we have seen right in our portfolio, several of these startups take full advantage of this structure, of this model. And I'm very happy to say that just a week ago, we had our first token launch of our portfolio happen from eMoney Network, where they're a bank-fi and RWA space. And this year we will, between Q1 and Q2, we will have a couple more companies coming out with their token launches. And with the startups that were in the previous cohort, we are having a roadmap of a couple of them as well launching their token before Q2 this year. So this entire structure of ensuring that you get execution power, you get network access, you get capital access, and you get coach access to get you ready through a checklist format and give you a roadmap to token launch is what we have been able to focus and execute on with XDC and with other partners as well.
That's amazing, Bimlesh. Thank you so much for explaining. I mean, it's so much that is going on, which you have compressed in 2.5 minutes or so. And it takes, like I said, it's like 24 hours 7, and it really helps people, not get burnt out and achieve what they really want to do. And thank you so much for that explanation. And I believe that you have many other programs such as 0x Camp, Gen AI Camp, LaunchCamp, and you've already spoken about BuildCamp. So maybe you could touch through a few points for the other programs as well.
So 0x Camp is our Get Token Launch Ready program. Our LaunchCamp is our one-to-one advisory program, because not all startups fit into a typical time frame model. We typically take in about two startups in a quarter in our LaunchCamp advisory program. And our Gen AI program is something which is under works right now. We're launching it out sometime later this year. But what we are also focusing on is enabling agentic AI startups into Web3. because Web3 is still complicated for a lot of new Web2 users to come in. And we are seeing a new spur in energy among early stage founders in leveraging AI to simplify a lot of Web3 operations so that we can onboard more users and make more complex transactions more simplified. And each program has a very specific objective, and none of our, or rather I would say all our programs are accountability based, right? If you can't be held accountable, don't get into any accelerator in the world, right? The whole point of getting into an accelerator is, can I stay focused for a specific amount of time and can I achieve the maximum that's possible in this time frame, right? And that's the kind of attitude and mindset of founders that we always look for.
100% agree with you. You have to see through, the good days and the bad days. It's important to show up. And I think, being accountable is the only way to do it.
Absolutely. That's the only way you would. And also we've been very transparent and committed about accountability, not just with the founders, even with our partners. We ensure that we work with them with a similar mindset to say that you consider as your extended team, because there is so much of risk that is there within the entrepreneurship journey, right? You have a founder whose life or whose journey is important. They depend upon, let's say, XDC network as a partner. They depend upon Foundership as a partner. Foundership has the coach network. So it's built in across the system to ensure that there is equally transparency and it is multifolded. It's just not one-to-one with only founders. That has given also, Foundership a very unique way, appreciation from the ecosystem to say, these guys are genuinely, here for a long term, and they're adding value, and they're very transparent and upfront. They are not able to do something, they're going to tell you, right? I think that is also something that culturally we are built in to ensure that we do that and we demand the same thing within our network. Because ultimately today, if we see the best successful startups, no matter which space it is in, whether it's a space or Web3 or AI or anything, you're only going to see successful startups who have this sort of cultural built into that. You cannot be excusing yourself in any way. You may not be producing success right away. For example, for us, today we might have dozens of startups ready for TGE, but a year back we had hardly one. But we stayed committed to what we believed, and in the same spirit and transparency, we said we're going to be around with this core accountability as a framework, and we will have result at some point of time.
Got it, Santosh. Is there anything, have you come across a scenario which you can say, when you talk about accountability, can you give us an example scenario? We don't need to take names or anything, but you can just give us a scenario where, you've stepped in and you have said, hey, this is not working. This is what you need to change. Just to let the audience understand the real world,
Sure, I'll give you one or two examples. Bimlesh has plenty of them. I will not able to name that. This is a fantastic team which is currently in our accelerator. The founders, the team had a tough time. We had to rally behind the team. Once you have a startup starting up with, let's say, 2 or 3 or 4 co-founders, if one of them just moved on, there's definitely going to be turbulence. In fact, 99% of cases, the startup is going to go down, right? Because there is suddenly a turbulence of trust and appetite and the same zeal that you generally need to. So to set an accountability, we saw 1 or 2 founders having the similar sort of mind map to say, no, we are going to be around. There was still a turbulence, so we had to be with them, ask for certain sort of structure to be put in so that there is a trust that is built in within the existing set of founders. Help one of the co-founder to rise to the more of a CEO kind of focus to say, okay, you look after the execution. You might have certain challenges. We would be able to hear you. We'll have to guide you 24/7. And today, fast forward, they are one of the most promising 10. In fact, they are most promising 5. Right? We have enjoyed that experience working with them. But I think more than us, we have loved that they trusted us, that they are going to be our partner in this journey, right? In terms of helping us to take off would have been just gone down. So I think that is one example of accountability. Accountability is not just a one-way door, it's a multi-way door, right? As I just now talked about it. So, for us to deliver, there has to be an equal reciprocation that has to come from the other side, right? There has to be trust. And it's just not a one-day fix. It might take you, depending upon how agile and adaptable data you have, it might take a couple of weeks for you. And then also, hence, it requires a lot of perseverance in that journey to say, okay, there might be, we are frustrated that something is happening. You are frustrated that something is not happening. But there's an accountability to say, we are trying this. You guys are observing us. You are telling upfront that this is not correct. So this is the battle that you have to get inside and produce something. We've been very fortunate, dozens of TZ. Out of that, I think maybe 3 to 4 cases are like this, where the team was like this and they've taken off in a way, big way.
From a tactical point of view, right? So look at it like everyone wants to get rich, but no one wants to work hard. Everyone wants a startup to succeed, but you are unable to follow a very simple path of what it takes on a daily basis to execute some things, right? So that's where the accountability comes in, to say that we don't recommend micromanage, nor do we micromanage, because as a founder, it's your company. We are only enablers in that process to help you stay focused and guide you forward. So the way we enable this is by setting your OKRs for a quarter and then asking you to break it down to a weekly goal. And then it's up to you as a founder to encourage that now within your team. Right? Our primary focus has always been to coach the founder, and the founder becomes the coach for his or her team. So you coach the coach, right? So as a founder, it's your both an opportunity and a challenge. While you are getting coached, how do you also coach your team to stay focused and stay aligned, right? So that's the model that we truly encourage with our OKR approach, which is objectives and key results, to say that, hey, you got to be held accountable on a weekly basis. We don't want a daily update on what's going on. But if you have a 30-day goal that you want to go, you're in the last phase of going to TG, then yes, every day matters. But if you're not in that sprint, then a weekly update is what matters. A weekly touch point. It's important to be fair and transparent and to be honest in that communication, to say, you know what, this week I got distracted. We had some technical challenges. 2 of my team members quit. I was all over the place. I did not move a needle on the goal this week. That's fine. But the founder has to come to the meeting. The founder has to accept the challenge, the reality, and course correct themselves. No startup is built overnight. No startup has achieved overnight success, barring a very few. But what you see in the outside success, there's a lot of hard work and turmoil that's happened beneath the surface, right? So every week, great founders build this muscle of being accountable every week, either to themselves, to someone else externally, or if you're part of the accelerator, that's what we set the expectation with the founder, to say that focus on your weekly goal, report your weekly goal, just talk about it. Yes, you may not have hit 100% of your week goal, but you are making progress towards it. You will have compounding effect by the end of 30 days. So it is this weekly grind that some founders build a muscle themselves, but some founders need external help. And that's where we come in, where we expect this honesty, this transparency from the founders to say that, hey, you may not have achieved all the 100% progress in a week, but you start moving in that direction and you'll start seeing compounding effect at the end of 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And that's how every good teams make progress together. And it's not enough just the founder works, right? The team also has to get aligned with what the OKRs are of the organization, of the team that you're building in, to ensure that everyone is moving towards achieving those goals. And that's how we encourage, not only in our monthly reviews, but every week the coach in the foundership ecosystem, this is one of their mandates, to say that, hey, have this transparent conversation with the coaches, so that the coaches hold you accountable each week, and the foundership leadership team works with each startup on a monthly basis to ensure that, one, as a company, we also solicit feedback. Second, if there's anything else that we can add value on over and top of what coaches are doing, that's the presence that we plug the holes there.
Yeah, thank you so much for your insight in that. It's pretty much like, hey, going to the gym or learning up an art form or doing anything. You can't fake, building a new art form or learning the piano, or maybe, anything in business, anything in life. You have to stick through the process. You have to go through it, and without that, you can't really reach your goals. And I 100% agree with you on that. And thank you so much for your insight on that. And previously, you were talking about, the agentic AI and about bringing agentic AI into your processes to reduce the load on people itself, right? So how do you think it's going to work in the Web3 world? I think you guys have something. I mean, I've read about the no code side project that you guys have recently launched. Is it to do with agentic AI? Is it to reduce dependencies on human beings? What is the thought process behind this?
So we do a lot of BuildCamp build related initiatives to help builders to figure out what tools they can quickly scaffolding and get going to build tools, right? So you have a bunch of SDKs and APIs and Web3, smart contracts, AI. Now, when you look at agentic, it is a very new, fresh thinking that is being brought in to say that the computation that you require in the traditional way of doing software, it can be minimized to we don't even know, right? We can even comprehend. It can be 100x factor, right? You can comprehend the entire thing that we were taking to as fast as 100 times, as intelligent as was 100x times and get going. So in Web3, you would have a lot of use cases, which we will, as we go on with our various initiatives that's coming in from the next month inwards, we would encourage builders to look at agentic AI in the Web3 space. We also partner with a lot of our partners, other chains, right, to figure out if they are looking at agentic AIs as one of their core thesis, then we work with them. And because we have been in this software, we have been building products, so we understand it well. How does agentic AI is going to operate? In the sense, we are not the expert. Nobody's an expert right now. The world is still figuring it out, but we understand the core structural reasoning behind it. And we also anticipate some of the way it's going to come and play. And I think it's a great boon for Web3 because Web3 is equally a complicated tech that is still getting simplified. So, agentic AI could simplify it to a great extent. I think those are the sort of areas that we would encourage, and we'll work with builders, we'll get AI experts, AI mentors, and our partners to focus on the upcoming cohorts, upcoming build camps, to have AI focused side of it. So it's still early. It's still getting started right now. In fact, in Web3 also, we are only seeing AI in the last 2-3 months of something that people can realize and use it. That's where we are now.
Got it.
There are a lot of emerging use cases. One is to solve it on the technology side. Second is to solve it on the business side. The third is to solve it around operations side of any organization, right? So we are in early stages and we are looking at opportunities to identify problem statements, work with early stage builders, work with chain partners, so that if there are any chain specific problem statements that are there, that we can co-create programs and take it to the market.
Okay, understood. And especially since you guys have been building products and you've been heading so many projects and coaching so many people. I mean, agentic AI could come, it could be anything, but you guys know the processes behind, you know what the connections are, and you guys know the right people to connect, founders and funding, and all that can't really change immediately with agentic AI because it finally boils down to human connection. So I think which you guys have with multiple people, I've seen that. And talking about that, which different geographies have you guys? I think you guys are building in Singapore, Dubai, as well as India. Could you talk about a little bit about your activation in all of these different geographies?
So if you look at Foundership is today headquartered in Singapore, and Dubai has a strong presence, and India has the builder and the ecosystem presence. So hence, for chains all over the world who are looking at Asia as a big play. So having said that, we have a bunch of founders from Europe, we have a bunch of founders from US, we have a bunch of founders from North America, both Europe also. And so it's a global accelerator, but you get the immediate structure set for you, Dubai, because Dubai is truly an epicenter for crypto Web3 regulations and experiments and all that. You get a global sandbox to operate out. You get a great builders and developer energy, right? So Founders gives you that one. And you have a very good clarity, TradFi, DeFi fusion that is happening in Singapore in terms of a long-term clarity around that, right? So this is the three places where Foundership is physically located, right? But digitally we are located everywhere. Because you run an accelerator, we have mentors, we have partners from all over the world. But even the best chains all over the world, they know that ACI is going to be the biggest driver for growth. And we've seen that both in terms of token side and innovation side. because you have a great young Gen Z energy with the variety that you talk about, from MENA to South Asia to India to Singapore to the rest of the APAC, right? There's a fantastic distributed demographic that you get, which is important for a lot of projects to tap into, right? And that Foundership delivers right the day we partner with any chain, any protocols, any solutions, or even any network extension to our ecosystem. I'll let them share more pointers.
Absolutely. So one is Santosh covered our key operating bases. Second is we've also built out a global community across 35 cities worldwide, 25 in India and 10 cities worldwide. So those initiatives gave us visibility and ecosystem access across different parts of the world. And as Santosh mentioned, we get applications from all over the world to apply into our accelerator, because we run a virtual accelerator, and at different points in time, we run demo days with our partners in key events such as Denver, Dubai, Token 2049 Dubai, Token 2049 in Singapore, and so on and so forth. So our ability to manage global founders across global time zones and be present in these global events as what has enabled us to build out a portfolio of about 55 companies across 14 countries of these founders who are located. And that gives us a great advantage that any founder from Asia visiting to the West, we connect them to our founders in the West so that they now act as their enablers, and vice versa. When the founders from the West want to come to the East, the founders in the East act as enablers to them. So, we often say that Foundership brings the culture empathy of the East to the capitalism of the West and marry the best of both worlds.
That's amazing. Could you just repeat that phrase so that we can, quote it? I really like the phrase.
We bring the cultural empathy of the East to the capitalism of the West and marry both of them.
That's awesome. That's an amazing line, I must say. This needs to be highlighted because a lot to do with founders and what they're going through requires a lot of empathy.
That's a good one. I would just add to that point that with Web3, right, because it's Gen Zs, it's a very early adopter, it's on-chain, it's global. There is a new cultural phenomena that is being tried out. Right? So as Bimlesh rightly, sort of created that cultural ethos, right, of how East and West, and we bring them together. Because it's Web3, it's a new cultural being set, and there is a financial sort of, impact
incentive,
incentive that is built in. You're talking about truly why a lot of first principle leaders like Naval, Balaji, and many others, why they believe industry from very beginning, from very day one, where it's a clearly cultural phenomena, both technology-wise. It's just not technology, tech right now. Even in fact, AI is tech right now, but Web3 is culture first, tech. So I think rightly we are infusing and bringing that as one that is available to all our believers.
Thank you so much. So how has XVC Tech supported startups within Foundership?
I think what XVC Tech has done is offer great partnership in this process. Right from our first conversation with Ritesh and Ameri, it's been very clear that this is a partnership in the works and not a relationship of, hey, get this done for us. Right? The teams at XDC have been extremely involved in ensuring that they not only pay out the funds required as per the milestone that needs to be achieved, but even post funds being dispersed to the startups, there's continuous involvement to ensure that XVC Tech and XDC network community is playing an active role in the path towards TG and beyond. So I think money is becoming a commodity worldwide. Access to capital is now even more democratized with Web3. And given the recent bull run, you got a lot more, angel investors who have made, enough funds to redeploy and take bets on. But what's more important than money is this continuous ecosystem access support, which is invaluable, right? You really can't put a dollar value to say that, hey, KishanBaalaji knows Balaji in Singapore, has a direct connect to Balaji in Singapore. That network connection is invaluable and you really can't put a dollar value. And that is that ecosystem support, not only in terms of fundraising, but access to several demo days, continuous support, not only for your first private round sale, but even to your public round sale and to your community sale. So this entire ongoing support that XVC Tech provides and the way it gets involved has been really fascinating to see from close quarters on how Vaneri gets involved in this process and truly supports what it takes for a startup to secure funding from XVC and to move forward from there.
Thank you so much, and thanks for the shout out as well for Aneri.
Absolutely.
So, what led to the collaboration between Foundership and XVC Tech, and how does this strengthen the XDC 0x Camp Accelerator program?
So I think if you look at XDC, considering it's a top 100 blockchain, phenomenal growth, and compatible with Solidity and UEM, at our level, sort of with Pranav's association right there at Dubai, and our work being seen as, okay, they are very focused on outcomes, right? The token launch and all. I think that kickstarted with XDC network as such, right? With the founders and the team sitting out to say, okay, can we create a structure that truly benefits XDC network to go out, right? To take the project out to the market. I think that kickstarted. So one thing led to another, kickstarted the discussions. We realized there is a model there. We came up with that model to say, okay, how about we get your project to do token launch? That got everybody excited. And then we were very, very fresh, fast principle thinking, right? We are very, very fresh. Let's do this. Let's try this. Let's try this. So today, when we talk about XDC network code, we are much more aligned on what works, what doesn't work, right? Because in Web3, there is also a challenge of high performance driven teams, right? It's very challenging in the sense you get carried away by a small little gain here, a small little gain there, but hey, can you make an impact? So it has been a wonderful association of discovery, of setting up a program, token launch, of getting certain startups to XDC network to have to upcoming token TG launch, and then co-creating more programs with the XDC network, and also taking them to the equally we're passionate about taking XDC network within our ecosystem of 10,000 plus community members, 30-40 cities, right? Because as we rightly mentioned, we don't see us as different. When you partner with us, the downside or the upside or whatever you want to call it as, the good side of Foundership is the moment you are partner with us, we take a lot more pride thinking like you, right? Thinking what can we think as first guys to go and tell XDC network that you should be doing this, right? So we don't deal with a very transactional approach of saying you asked for it, we'll just give you that. We rather take you to a route which we think and we've seen it working is the right way to succeed. So I think that's a partnership for trust on both sides and sketching a lot more plans together to see XDC network thrive.
Thank you so much, Santosh. What are some emerging opportunities in Web3 funding and venture investment? We would like to know from you because you guys run multiple cohorts, you get lots of information from all over the world. So just, a quick answer to that would be helpful.
So I'll share it from two perspectives. One from an investor point of view, and second is from a founder point of view. So from an investor point of view, today, with the markets moving up, all due to the new US president getting elected and new executive orders being passed, there's going to be a new wave of innovations that's going to come up, right? 2 days ago, the US Fed announced that US banks can serve crypto users freely. Right now, this opens a plethora of opportunities of innovation, just serving US citizens and US banks. Now, a lot of banks, a lot of financial systems needs upgrades. Now, this opens up a large B2B opportunities. So you will see a lot more B2B funding coming in, because if banks first support the ecosystem, then onboarding every Web3 user becomes a lot more easier, because easy access of fiat to crypto conversions and crypto to fiat conversions. The payment rails strengthens, chains like XDC benefit, ecosystems like other innovators benefit, and that's a huge opportunity for investors to look at. Now, for investors, predominantly the focus has been on they typically deploy either through a liquid fund, which is primarily into trading, or pre-token launch startups. We expect this to continue and this to scale, because now these new innovations need funding to come up. And with this market moving from a low of 18K to now 105, we have seen a lot of new people also make money who will now become LPs in new funds to come in. So overall, there's a positive sentiment on new investments coming into the crypto side. From a founder point of view, I think the key is to find the true tangible problem statements that you want to solve and not go behind fancy opportunities and try to make a quick money scheme out of trying to launch a token and vanishing away. And with crypto, that's been a challenge because it's a global ecosystem. So companies get registered in Cayman Island, but the founder is in some part of the world. And there's lack of traceability around these founders for the investors. So for founders, it's a great opportunity to look at real problem statements of how do you now build solutions for this new innovation opportunity that's coming up as regulations open?
Yeah, so I think, it's a very dynamic industry right now. Considering that we have regulations coming out, we would see strong pillars getting built. For example, in Web2, we saw commerce as a largest category, right? Which is still today we do, quick commerce now. A category that was not even existing 5 years, 6 years back, or not even existing when it came, right? So we would be surprised that today we talk about it at a top layer, such as, hey, agentic, hey, stable coin and all. I wouldn't be surprised if there is multiple industry-specific stablecoin solutions coming in play, because unlike the old world systems, Web3 has a built-in both smart contract and financial system, right? Both code and money involved in the sort of, product as such, right? So we're looking at stablecoin could be one way. So each of those, you take it out, you will see fantastic implementation of that, fantastic industrification of that across industries. So those are going to be prime drivers of growth, because that's how your existing industries are going to adapt to say, maybe not everything in Web3 I need, but I need to design a stable coin for my, let's say, quick commerce, right? Or let's say for my, logistics, or whatever it is, right? So we're going to see those industry opening up as regulations comes. Because until regulation comes in, those industries are not even looking at it. The moment regulation comes in, they're going to take one piece and say, can we deep dive and address fundamental structural problems that can be addressed by this new tech? So those are the sort of areas of investors looking for a decade-long impact. While, Web3 has a very quick 18 months impact, but I think we are now going to go and build those decade-long impact industry opening cases also.
Thank you so much for your alpha. I mean, the information that you both have shared is really valuable. We're going to definitely highlight this part. Where can listeners learn more about, Foundership? If you can just share, your next event, or if you want to share something that we can share with our audiences, so that we can have people reach you.
So one, visit our website, FoundershipHQ.com. Second, follow us on Twitter at FoundershipHQ. Third, join our community in Telegram. And these are the three places digitally where we share a lot of our updates. Fourth, we have a newsletter, a very vibrant newsletter on Substack. Follow us up there for some enriched content. And meet us up at the upcoming ETH Denver in end of February. And also hit us up in Dubai anytime you're there, or during Token 2049 in Dubai.
And on top of that, we would have a fantastic new community club getting launched in February. So do watch out all our social media. And we are absolutely super active on the LinkedIn. So if you are on LinkedIn, do go check out Foundership, depth sort of conversation happens there. So LinkedIn, the new community club that is coming in. And also we host plenty of events, Blockmeets across cities in India and outside. Do meet us there and do meet some fantastic people there.
Thank you so much.
Subscribe to the XDC India Podcast for continued conversations on blockchain technology and the evolving world of trade finance. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.